All right, thanks, Steve. Okay. Hey, folks, welcome into the News 12 Now desk. Thanks for joining us here. It is Friday, about 11:30 here, and we've got a very special guest this morning here at the desk. We are joined by Dan Booth and also recently retired head football coach over at Washington-Wilkes, Sid Fritts. So, gentlemen, good morning. Appreciate you taking some time to come join us. Coach, first of all, congratulations on retirement, on a great career. How does it feel now that you're officially retired from coaching?
Well, it's still new, so it doesn't feel really different. I'm still around the kids, still interacting, still in the weight room. I guess we'll see this summer when I'm distanced from that practice field.
Yeah, what led to the decision to call it a career after, what was it, 35 years as a head coach?
32 as a head coach. Been in it about 38 years. I started my career at my alma mater at Austin P. Uh, kind of walked on as a coach, like I walked on as a player, and then went from a volunteer to a GA to part time restricted earnings guy, and then got my first head coaching job in 1988.
Yeah, and then the rest is history, as they say. 376 wins over 32 or 38 years as a coach and as a head coach for most of it. 12 region championships at 4 different schools. One of 11 coaches to win a region championship at 4 different schools. Just an incredible run of success. Dan, I know you wanted to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, and coach, one of the things that's interesting to me is sometimes it can be a little easier once you get your foot in the door somewhere and you build something and sustain it in one spot. You found a way to have success in multiple different places. So my question to you is, what were some of the things you found out from day one that you wanted to come in there and put your fingerprints all over this program to help build a team in your image and really get things going off on the right note and then sustain success in these places?
Before we get started on that, I want to clarify the wins. It was not 376. I was a head coach for 32 years. I'd had to just about win them all to accomplish that. But we ended up winning 260 something, won 200 here in Georgia. But my philosophy when I started in 1988 was going to be that we were going to be able to play 4 quarters. We were going to try to make you beat us instead of us helping you beat us. Try to be, hang our hat on toughness and discipline and strength. And then I came to Georgia and included speed in that equation, and it certainly helped in our success.
When you came here to Washington-Wilkes, it was under some different circumstances. Had to start during a pandemic and kind of adjust that way. You had sort of taken a step back from head coaching. You're an assistant for a year. Did you find that to be more challenging that first year here at Washington-Wilkes?
Well, what helped me was I was here the year prior as an assistant. I had retired from Elbert County and had plans to go back to Tennessee. But I stayed around here and worked as the offensive line coach in 2019. And then they asked me to become the head coach there right at the end of the pandemic break, right when we were getting ready to kick off summer workouts. And we talk about that pandemic year, the challenges that it presented. We had to change all the weights out. The kids couldn't touch weights. We had to wipe the bars down. There was just a lot of things that you didn't do prior to that. And then summer camp seemed like it went on forever because the season kept getting pushed back. We didn't start till well after Labor Day. And it was just a real strange, but, we weren't the only ones dealing with that. Everybody across the state had to do the same things. We had a really talented football team, so it wasn't something that that was hard to decide whether to do. I mean, when they give you a full hand, you play it, and we had a really good year that year.
Yeah, you've had, I mean, 3 really good years at Washington-Wilkes. And one of the great rivalries in all of Georgia football, maybe high school football as a whole, is one that you've been a part of the last 3 years, the great 3-7-8 war with Lincoln County. In all your years of coaching, you've seen so many great rivalries and so many great teams and communities coming out and supporting. Where does this stack up?
You know, I've been fortunate in my career going back to 1988 with Marion County, who was a really good program, and we were trying to get to where they were at, and were able to beat them 2 or 3 times. And then we were at Vidalia-Toombs County rivalry, which is a huge one down in that part of the country. Elbert County, Hart County is a big one. And they all have special memories. The good thing about them is we've been able to be on top in the win-loss ledger.
Yeah, and the one I go back to is the one I saw in person, 2021. And that was, I believe that was at your guys' place, and what I like to call the Dalen Cobb game, just played out of his mind that game. I think he had six total touchdowns or 5 total touchdowns maybe. Just an awesome game. And the guy on the other sideline of those games in recent years is a guy you know pretty well, Coach Homskis over at Lincoln County. You mentioned Vidalia. You both had stops there. What's your relationship with him like, somebody that you have so much respect for, but then when it comes to that game, somebody that you really are itching to beat?
Well, Lee's done a tremendous job everywhere he's been. When he went into Vidalia, you know, they were trying to get the mojo back. And he and a group of guys that were with me on the staff when I was there. And then when Lee came in, he inherited some of those guys and then brought some guys in, put them in place, and did a great job down there. And then he's done the same thing at Lincoln. You know, he came in and went to the quarterfinals first year. He and I and Commerce, all 3 were in the quarterfinals and out of the same region in 2020. And then last year, Lee went a little further, went to the semis, had a really good football team. And, you know, you can just look ahead and see that rivalry is going to continue to be as fierce as any in the state.
Yeah, and now it gets an interesting little wrinkle now with Coach Bradford taking over for you guys. He knows a thing or two about those boys over at Lincoln County, having been there. When you look at him and you look at the future of the program, what excites you moving forward about Washington-Wilkes football?
Just him, you know, just the passion that he brings, the person that he is, the coach that he is. He's a tremendous football coach, very, very knowledgeable, has good schemes and fits those schemes with the personnel that he has. You know, we had changed a little bit this last year with Dalen and some of those guys gone. And we still were able to win 8 games. We had 3 guys coming back on offense, 5 guys coming back on defense, but we all put together a plan and was able to scratch out 8 wins and go 2 rounds deep.
Yeah. Why now for retirement? And is this something you had thought of before the season, kind of knowing it was going to be your last, or was this something in the last couple of weeks or months you were like, I think it's time to hang it up?
Well, I talked to our administration earlier and thought, you know, I'm thinking, but I'd like some time. I don't want to make a decision. I think I made a decision at Elbert that I regretted, because like I said, my plan was to go back to Tennessee, but I didn't get a head coaching job, you know, and I kind of thought that I would, but, you know, when you get 60-something years old, you're not as attractive to administrators because of the time factor. 5-year plan. Well, heck, I don't buy green bananas at my age. You know, we try to go in and do the best we can, But time's not on our side when we get that age. And I was really, really fortunate to get this job. But I had been thinking, I've got 6 grandchildren spread from Colorado to Alabama to Tennessee that I'd like to spend time with. They're all playing sports now. We're this summer we're heading out west. We're going to stay. My daughter and granddaughter live in Colorado. We're going to spend the summer in Colorado, and then once season starts, I may be kicking myself, missing it. But I'm going to stay involved. I'm going to kind of be a senior consultant around here. I'm going to be an advanced scout. Whoever we're playing the following Friday, I'm watching them the preceding Friday. Try to get an early look at them, come back, sit in on meetings on Sunday, and do what I can to still be assistants to Coach Bradford and our staff and our players.
Yeah, you just can't stay away. It's one of those things. You can take the guy out of the football field, but you can't take football out of the guy. And that kind of answered my next question a little bit, was what's next? Because all your falls have been spoken for the last almost 4 decades. Now you got all this extra time. You going to catch up on any TV shows that you may have missed over the last 40 years? I mean, what's next for you?
Well, like I said, during the school year, it'll be kind of the same. I don't practice in the afternoon. I go out and watch games on Friday night. It's going to be nice having the summers off. First Labor Day I've had off in 40 years. So there's a lot of things that I think I can occupy my time with. The coaches put together a package for me and bought me a set of golf clubs, and I'll try to put those to use. I live on the lake. Went fishing the last 2 days, but we'll stay busy, and who knows, I may surface again somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you had called it a career once already, and came back and spent some time here with us in the CSRA. So, what's to say it won't happen again? So you got the golf clubs. Do you golf a lot, or is this going to be a new hobby for you?
No, well, I don't golf very much. 4 or 5 times a year, and I'm not very good.
None of us are. We all do it. None of us are good, though.
I say I shoot 72, but there's a bunch of holes left when I'm at 72. But maybe I can improve. Practice helps, and I'm going to try to give it a little practice in it and get better at it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dan, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Yeah, Coach, you kind of touched on it briefly, but just knowing how much you've accomplished, how much you've done, and how big football is for you in general, and being around these teams, it's probably hard to answer this, but is there one thing that you really can latch onto that you're going to miss from stepping away from roaming the sidelines specifically, even though you are still going to be a part and have an active role in things?
The relationships, with the players, with the staff. As bad as I hate to say it, with the referees. You have a little banner and going back and forth with those guys. The faculty, the administration, just those things are special, and you cannot put a monetary value on the relationships, especially with the coaches and the players that you're around. They've kind of pulled me to the finish line. I was leaking oil there at the end, but they pulled the buggy and let me ride in the buggy for a long time.
So, Coach, you've obviously had a lot of players over the last 4 decades. Are there any of the older time guys you still keep in touch with, or any of the guys who have really made it big? I think of McCole. Dalen's now at Southern doing his thing. So, how many of the guys are you still able to keep in touch with? And if so, who are some of those bigger guys that you've been able to talk to?
Well, I talked to guys from our 1988 team. And those guys are over 50 years old. And then I talked to Miko yesterday, and I get in touch with Dalen, and I've got them spread out all over the Southeast, and we're still close, and will remain close. They did more for me than I've ever done for them, but they're always been in my heart because of you love kids and you love your team and you love your coaches. And we've been able to forge great relationships.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you what your favorite moment has been, because I know that's probably impossible to answer. But is there a moment or a team or a year or something that you're most proud of, or just anything in general that you're most proud of accomplishing over the last 40 years?
Looking back, I think the biggest accomplishment was as a player rather than a coach. When I was at Austin Peay in 1977, we were picked dead last in the OVC, which included Middle Tennessee, Tennessee Tech, East Tennessee, and us, and then the Kentucky schools, Eastern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, Moorhead, and Murray. And our coach came in. He's a college Hall of Famer, Boots Donnelly. And we started winter workouts with 79 players. And after we ended spring, we had 33. Brought in a really good freshman class. That was before people started coming in early and participating in spring. But we put together a team and won the conference in 1977. And Austin Peay didn't win one again for 42 years. And that was quite because of that group of men, and we still stay close. We're coming up on our 50th anniversary. And that's a special team and a special time.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I know there's a lot of moments and a lot of memories over your entire football career. So just limiting it down to one or two is pretty much impossible.
It's hard because of all those players. And, you don't want to leave anybody out because they were all instrumental in everything that we've accomplished. It's never been about me. I was an offensive lineman, learned a long time ago as an old lineman. If you're ever running from the law, be an old lineman. They'll never find you. So it's always been team first.
Yeah. And that's something that, helps lead to success, a couple hundred wins over almost 40 years of coaching. Dan, I think those were all the questions I had. Was there anything else you had that you wanted to ask, Coach?
Yeah, Coach, I just wanted to say thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. It really has been fun to, follow your career since I've been here in the limited time that I've been here and learn a lot about your track record and what's been going on. And just, it really is cool to kind of pick your mind on a lot of things. And just seriously, thank you for taking the time. This is great.
Well, I appreciate y'all and what you do for high school athletics in the Augusta area. It's as good as anywhere I've been.
Well, we appreciate that, and we are certainly happy to do it. As long as we get coaches like you and teams like yours, it makes it a lot easier too to have a lot of success here. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, Coach Sid Fritts, recently retired Washington-Wilkes head football coach. So, Coach, appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.
All right, so big thank you to Coach Fritts for joining us there. Really enjoyed talking to him, and like we said, picking his brain just about an amazing 30, almost 40-year career at a number of different stops and a lot of success. Just to, again, rattle off some of his accomplishments, he's one of 11 coaches in GHSA history to win a region championship at 4 different high schools. Did it at Rome, did it at Vidalia, did it at Elbert County, and then finally here at Washington-Wilkes, where he spent 3 years. Kind of got thrown into the fray after Coach TCJ resigned back in 2020. He took over in the COVID year. One of his players actually passed away his first year, and they kind of played that first season with some heavy hearts. Still made it to the quarterfinals of the playoffs, I believe, and then had a couple great games in Lincoln County over the years. Just a really, really great program and a great guy to lead it. So we do appreciate his time this morning. That pretty much takes us out of time here, as we've got the TV side of things coming up in about 9 minutes. So if you want to swing on over to News 12, we've got midday coming up just at the top of the hour. So Zaina and Tim will have all of your latest news and weather. If you missed any of this interview or want to go watch it back, be sure to download our WRDW streaming app and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll be up there for you, and it'll be on the website too. So any of those, go ahead and check that out there. Hopefully you enjoyed these little sports talk Fridays. We're trying to make that kind of a thing, bring some guests on and just talk ball for a little bit, because there's nothing better on a Friday than just talking ball. So we will see you back here on Monday here at the News 12 Now desk. Enjoy the weekend. Stay safe, have some fun, and